Donna Parker can't help but feel guilty.
I felt stupid. I mean, it's like, I should have known. I should have looked. I should have paid attention. But I didn't.
By the time she figured out what was happening, her elderly parents were hundreds of thousands in debt.
And I just spent all this time going, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
By phone and mail, a ring of Canadian sweepstakes scammers had tricked Charles and Miriam Parker into giving away their life savings. And before it was over, the highly educated couple had become unwitting accomplices in what officials say is a $3 billion a year racket.
I've been on house calls with older adults where there have been concerns about abuse or neglect, and literally not 60 seconds would go by that their phone wasn't ringing. And I would pick up the phone and say hello, and it was, a Nigerian princess or somebody in the Canadian lottery.
FBI agent Joan Fleming handled the Parker case and says the problem is getting worse every year.
I'm seeing larger amounts of money from single victims reported. 6 figures is not unusual.
But what makes the Parker case unusual is that after they'd been cleaned out, the couple became what authorities call money mules. The scammers would have other elderly victims send cash to the Parkers, hidden in old magazines. Mrs. Parker would then repackage it and forward it to Montreal.
Having the money hopscotch from one victim to another makes it much more complicated.
The Parkers' troubles began sometime in late 2004.
I knew my dad had a good retirement. I knew for years they'd been able, after he retired, been able to live within their means. Then all of a sudden, they couldn't.
Like many victims, her parents hadn't been diagnosed with dementia or any other mental deficiency.
Even in the really early stages before you have Alzheimer's, like mild cognitive impairment, you become more vulnerable to getting scammed.
Everybody said to me, it's their money. It's their money.
After nearly 4 years of struggle, the Parker children sued to have their parents declared financially incompetent.
You know how hard that is to take your parents to court? The one thing my dad kept saying was, I am not mentally incompetent. I am not mentally incompetent.
The man the Parkers knew over the phone as Howard Clark was really Clayton Atkinson, a Canadian with a lengthy criminal record. He pleaded guilty in March and is serving 12.5 years in a federal prison. The couple lost more than $200,000 to this and other scams.
I think they are the lowest of the low. To this day, I don't understand why 2 perfectly intelligent people just didn't finally say, forget it. Nothing's ever coming through, forget it. And they never did. Never did.
Charles Parker died in February. His 87-year-old widow now has a 30-year mortgage and gets a monthly stipend from her daughter. Alan Breed, Associated Press, Cary, North Carolina.